Bonjour, comment allez-vous? Hey everyone, hope you're all doing well. In this video, we are going to practice with the verb être, and specifically, there are times when you have to decide whether to use c'est or il est to say, for example, he is. Or it also happens with she is. Sometimes you'll say c'est instead of elle est. So we're going to discuss the rules for that just very briefly, and we're going to practice. Be sure you've studied the topic in your textbook. There's a grammar tutorial video. If you don't have any materials and you're joining us from outside of the class, you can simply Google the topic, c'est versus il est, and you'll find some videos on YouTube that deal with this topic. Let's go ahead and get started. So here I have the verb être conjugated in the present tense. Notice je suis, tu es. When we get to il est, sometimes you say il est, sometimes you say c'est to mean he is. If you're describing someone with an adjective, like for example, if I want to say he's nice, I will say il est sympathique. But if you want to say he is Pierre, you're identifying him, then you'll say c'est Pierre. Okay, so that's really the difference. We use c'est to identify someone. We use il est to describe them with an adjective. The same thing happens with elle est. If we're using an adjective, if I want to say she's nice, I'll say elle est sympathique or elle est sympa. If I want to identify that person, I would say c'est, for example, c'est Marie, it's Marie, c'est Marie. So she is, if you ask me the question, how do you say she is? I will say, well, it depends, ça dépend. If you want to describe her with an adjective, you'll use elle est. If you're going to identify the person, you use c'est. Then we have nous sommes, vous êtes. The same thing with the plural, ils sont, they are, with an adjective. Ce sont to identify them. Elles sont with an adjective, or ce sont to identify them. So how do you say they are? Well, again, if you ask me that question, I would say ça dépend. It depends. If you want to identify them, say ce sont. If you want to describe them with an adjective, then use il est, ils sont. Or if they are females, elles sont. Okay, well, that's basically it. So let's go ahead and practice. If I want to say I am Robert, I will say, comment dit-on I am Robert? Comment dit-on ça en français? Je suis Robert. Je suis Robert. You are Bernard. With tu. Tu es Bernard. Tu es Bernard. He is Pierre. Okay, so be careful. He is either il est or c'est. What are we doing here? We're identifying. So, c'est Pierre. C'est Pierre. He's Pierre. C'est Pierre. She is Gabrielle. Remember, this is an ID and an identification, so we say c'est. C'est Gabrielle. C'est Gabrielle. You are Mr. Dupont. So we're using vous here because we're being formal. Vous êtes Monsieur Dupont. Notice there's no dot. Monsieur is just a capital M in French, the abbreviation for Monsieur. Vous êtes Monsieur Dupont. They are my friends. So we are identifying them. Ce sont mes amis. Ce sont mes amis. So remember, ce sont to identify. Ils sont to describe them with an adjective. It is a book, also to identify a thing. We just simply use c'est. C'est un livre. C'est un livre. It's a book. It is a table. Same thing, c'est. C'est une table. C'est une table. Enfin. Okay, so remember, in this video, we didn't describe anyone with an adjective. So the point is, if you ask me the question, how do you say he is? Well, my answer is, well, if you're describing he is, if you're using that with an adjective, like he is nice, you'll say, il est sympa. But if you're describing that person, for example, saying he is Pierre, then you use c'est. Okay, so that's the difference. Remember, c'est to identify, il est or elle est to describe that person with an adjective. Okay, well that's it for this video. There'll be a separate video with the ele and the elle for adjectives, so be sure to check that one out as well. Okay, au revoir.